Hey nice people, how you doing? I've got my Druid's hood on today. We're going to talk about this. This is one of the best videos I've done. I don't know yet, but we'll see. It's one of the best I've done. This is Callanish. We're going to look at what's going on with Callanish. I got this big blood red candle here. I was going to do this at night time, be a Druid, but you know, it didn't work. But we're going to give you a Druid's eye of what's happening at Callanish. We're going to actually walk down the processional using Google Images. They drove a car down here, and that's north-south aligned. Here there's a huge world mound next to Callanish. It goes all the way from water up a hill towards the world mound, and it keeps going. It keeps going back in that direction until it gets to a sacred rock, which would be for Volunder or Wayland. So we're going to explain the rituals that were held here, and it was for Baal worship, and we're going to explain how it works. We're going to even see what this east-west alignment points to. There's two east-west alignments. They've only looked at the moon. I don't think they've even looked at what the solar sunrise alignment is, which is the key to everything that's going on. So we've even got the fire and the brimstone here, the sulfur. This is incredible, guys. So let's see what's going on with Callanish. Now, the archaeologists just aren't curious enough about this monument. The thing is, when I was little, I was fascinated by pictures like this. You may have remembered in the libraries these old books from the 70s, and you know, there's a sun, there's a Stonehenge, and you think, what's going on there? And I've sort of devoted my life to trying to find out and educate myself. So I'm going to give you I'm going to try and say what I think it is, and you can tell me what you think it is in the comments. Now, this is Callanish. Obviously, it's a Celtic cross, but what is it also? It's a tree. It's a world tree, an abstraction of a world tree, and it's lying on a north-south alignment, roughly. And these actually point to moonrises, as we'll see in a moment. And there's something quite fascinating going on with Callanish as well. Now, Callanish, it's a tree of life. Now, what would happen was the Druids would walk up this direction along the alignment. What would happen is they'd come up this pathway here from the water. We're going to walk along this pathway using the Google Street View. It's going to be amazing. And they'd walk up here to this, and there's a central sacred pillar. And what I think that would happen is they'd be carrying the handbag and a bundle of sticks. They'd dip the sticks in the handbag, and they'd splash the blood on that central pillar in a circle, being Baal, and a form of ancestor worship, because in the middle is a tomb to Baal, a tomb to the fallen god from outer space. And we know this. We know they would do this. I'm not making this up, people. We know this because what would happen is, it says, so this is a book, The Lost Gods of England, Thames and Hudson. Get anything by Thames and Hudson. It's they try to make an art gallery in a book, in all their books. It's amazing. So, if ancient Norse and Icelandic fanes offer a parallel, then the Old English temple furniture included a gold ring upon which oaths were sworn, a bowl for catching blood of sacrificed animals, and a bunch of twigs for splattering the blood over worshippers in the same way as holy water is asperged down upon devout Catholics. So that's fascinating, and we know from the Atlantis legend that beyond the Pillars of Hercules, they actually splashed blood from a sacrificed animal on a pillar, a sacred pillar. That's in Plato. We're not making this up. This is real. This is what the Druids would have done. The fanciful Druid ceremonies, they pull out a sword, push it back down again, hold it up to the sun. Forget about that. Maybe something like that, but you know, that's not based on research. What we're doing now is based on research. This is so amazing. This is so incredible. I love this. Guys, we've even got some trench carved out like a holy tree here. There's so much going on here the archaeologists don't even know about. So let's continue looking at this. So these are the alignments. Now, so a guy called Boyle Somerville, 1909, he's drawn some alignments. So this is what was also covered by Gerald Hawkins, 1965. He said it was moon alignments. He said this was a Stonehenge of the North. And what we've got is we've got Capella rise in 1800 BC. We've got tropic full moon rise halfway between the Capella rise and the Pleiades rise. And we've got an equinoctial sunset. That, they're not pointing to what that sunrise is. We'll cover it in this video. There's a true north or south line as well, which is evident in the location we're going to look at. This is so incredible. And I really got to tell you, it's amazing. So what I reckon was that the Druids went up the processional and they would have had a sacred ring. This was the sacred ring of Volundra, the fire god, or Wayland. And it would have been made from orichalcum. And it would have been brought from mines in America, because you look at the strategic location of Callanish and where the Brochs are. The Brochs must be supply depots of an ancient empire, ships going between the Mediterranean and America. But anyway, that's the speculation. The rest of this is fact. Now, these were people of the tree. Druids are people of the tree, people of the oak. Is that because they lived in the forest in oak groves? I think that's a myth. People live in cities. As we're going to show, Callanish is a huge temple city. They didn't live in the forest. People live in cities. No one lives in the forest unless they're an antisocial psychopath. Druids were instrumental to the hierarchy of the ancient world. They didn't live by themselves, or they wouldn't have any power. The druid, the sacred branch, would be for splashing the blood on the sacred pillar. I think that's what happened in these ceremonies. So these aren't leprechauns living in the forest hiding behind oak trees. They lived in a temple city, as we'll prove. And we'll do a visual reconstruction of their druid ritual. So that's fascinating. That's my notes. And they would have worshipped Bel. The Germanic gods, the Germanics didn't necessarily have Bel, but they had a Phoenician influence there. But these Beaker people who had this huge Atlantic empire, they would have worshipped it. Now, we look at where Callanish is. It's up there in the middle of nowhere. And you think, what's it doing? What's a temple city doing all the way up there in the middle of nowhere? And there's a lot of things right up on the north coast in the middle of nowhere. Is it for trading with Norway? You have to be trading with someone. Is it for trading with the Faroe Islands, with Iceland? Or is it for going to America? Are these supply depots for people living on the Atlantic coast all these people on the Atlantic coast wishing to trade with ancient America back in the past? We know there's transatlantic contact. We know the Egyptians, the cocaine mummies, the tobacco mummies. So if the Egyptians want to get the cocaine and tobacco, they need to go through the Beaker people empire in order to get there. So the Beaker people empire, with outposts in Italy, perhaps the Etruscans, would have had a stranglehold on the American orichalcum trade. So we're putting it all together. So Callanish, let's zoom in before we zoom in, let's do a little history of Callanish. So Callanish, it's a beautiful, it's called a stone circle. Yes, it's a circle cross. It's beautiful, it's amazing. That's a central pillar there. I think they would have sprayed blood onto that. So let's just look at the history. That's all we need to know. So there is a chambered tomb in the middle, which is very fascinating. So they're worshipping a tomb in the middle of a circle. That's interesting. Pyramid-like almost. So let's look at the dating. The dating is 2900 to 2600 BC. And what happened was it was covered by peat by 800. It was abandoned around 800 BC and covered with 1.5 metres of peat. Now, it's about a metre 1,000 years. Peat grows and forms. Now, the later history is this. The first written reference to the stones was by Lewis native John Morrison. Around 1680, he wrote that the stones were men converted into stone by an enchanter and set up in a ring for devotion. Sometime around 1695, Martin visited the site and was told by the local people that it was a place appointed for the worship in the time of heathenism, and that the chief druid or priest stood near a big stone in the centre, so that's the big stone in the middle, from whence he addressed himself to the people that surrounded him. In his 1726 work on the Druids, John Toland, I have to read that, specifically identified Diodorus Siculus, Diodorus of Sicily, Hyperborea with Lewis, and the spherical temple mentioned by Diodorus with the Callanish stones. William Stuckley described the stone circles of Druid Circle and the avenue like a serpent. Geologist John McCulloch published the first accurate description. Danish historian Vodesay made a sketch and plan of the Callanish stones. And then finally in 1857 the peat was cleared away under the orders of the proprietor of Louis, James Matheson revealing the chambered tomb and the true height of the stone. So it looks like there were just a couple stones sticking out of the peat, and there was nothing here. Look, this is looks like a 19th century diagram. It's called Druidical Stones at Callanish, Stornoway, 1642. I don't know why it says that. It's a photo. And what we have is we show that the Gaels were living here, because you have the same stone cutaway that you see in ancient Ireland in a cruciform shape. So there's a road going through Callanish, and look, you notice this road continues through here, and you notice there's no houses around. There's nothing in the background really. Maybe one or two, but I can't make out any houses in the background. There's houses there today. And there's another stone up here, and look, there's a north-south processional. So the Druids actually went through this circular stone wall which surrounds a mound, and they kept going, and they went up to a sacred mound to worship Volund as well. And I'm going to prove that in this video. They worship Baal in the middle, and then Volund. So let's have a look at how that works. So there's the beautiful standing stones. Mystery, you wonder, what was here before? And there's the centre. Now, here we have snake religion again. Now, someone said I'm not allowed to talk about snake religion, even though I came up with most of it, half of it, proving that it relates to Stonehenge, the most important ancient monument. Someone said I'm not allowed to talk about that in the last video because I didn't invent that, because it's always been known that there have been snake temples or something like that, but whatever. So here you have the snake head. So these are based on also previous ideas people knew about the snake mouth entering. Another snake mouth that's been shown at Avebury. I certainly didn't come up with that, but that's been known. But it hasn't been related to Callanish. So what you have at Callanish, I've just noticed, this is like a snake's head. You see, there's the forked head of the snake, and it's a chambered tomb, and it's entering like a mouth or a jaws or just a circle. So you have the male snake entering the female snake, and you have this at Callanish. And this is coming from the east and the west. So the snake is the sunrise and the sunset. The snake in this case is facing the west, and it's pointing towards the sunset. Just what's happening at the Ohio Snake Mound, where you have the snake is actually pointing towards the setting sun, close to solstice. It was amazing. I was there close to solstice, the sun going down and the snake pointing right at it. And in fact, the sun setting over a pyramid in the distance. So like a hill is shaped like that. So it's just incredible. So let's continue. So we see there's a north-south processional coming through, and it continues. The Druids would have walked right through. So let's show what the Druids would have been doing. So we're going to zoom in. And there's a huge amount of information here as soon as we look at the satellite map. It's just absolutely incredible. Let's have a look at the Callanish. So the Callanishes are all around here. There's lots of Callanishes. Callanish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lots of the stone circles. We'll look at the main one. And all these Callanishes have a north-south processional associated with them. It's just absolutely amazing. Let's show that candle burning. So that is a north-south processional. And it leads to the Callanish stones here, right there. And it goes through there onto this sacred mound, and there's an outcrop. It looks like there's two pyramids or two square-shaped outcrops here. And then it continues, and look where it goes. Look where it goes. Boom. That is a hell. A hell is a sacred peninsula. So there are places in Lonely Planet where it says, oh, if you go here, you can say you've been to hell. So, and all these places I've noticed are invariably a peninsula. And why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. So we can read in that book, and the Lost Gods of England, and also just about Wayland. Wayland is a guy who was he was Loki. Loki is trapped. He has to forge rings, sacred rings of power. He's the Lord of the Rings. And he's bashing away, forging these rings. And one day he he provides rings to the king and the royal family. And the king says, one day the king wants more rings. So the king says, the king frames Wayland and imprisons and says, you've stolen this ring. It's disappeared. Like you've stolen this magic ring. It was given and then it was taken away again. So I'm imprisoning you on an island on a peninsula, and we've hamstrung you and we've taken away your power. And you can't fly anymore, and what are you going to do? You're going to make me rings. And Wayland or Volander says, Yeah, okay, I'll make the rings. Bang, 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 bang. And then what happens is he has enough. And he goes Titus Andronicus on the king and his family. Have you guys read Titus Andronicus? It's a very bloodthirsty play of Shakespeare in which a guy wants revenge and he gets revenge. He makes the family members eat each other in pies and cakes and stuff. And this is what Wayland does. So we'll have a look at Wayland. This is Wayland's forge. He's imprisoned in this forge. He's got his tools. He rapes the daughter of the king. He cuts the heads off her brothers. And he turns into a bat or a bird and flies away. And this makes him basically the same as Sauron, who is also the Lord of the Rings, or Saruman, who can fly, because in some of Tolkien's early books or letters, he says Sauron can fly like a bat, his fangs dripping with blood. This is Loki, an ancient flying fallen angel. So let's read about Voland. And this was worshipped. We're going to prove this was worshipped at Callanish. We'll do the virtual tour. It's so good. So what happens is, in one version of the myth, the three brothers lived with the three Volkers. After 9 years, the Volkers left their lovers. Egil and Slagfjord followed, never to return. In another version, Volunda married the swan maiden Herfa, and they had a son, Haemi. But Herfa later left Velunda. In both versions, his love left him with a ring. In the former myth, he forged 700 duplicates of this ring. Later, King Neothaf captured Velunda in his sleep in Neriki and ordered him hamstrung and imprisoned on the island of Savastuf. There, Velunda was forced to forge items for the king. Velunda's wife's ring was given to the king's daughter, Neothad wore Velunda's sword. In revenge, Velunda killed the king's sons when they visited him in secret, and fashioned goblets from their skulls, jewels from their eyes, and a brooch from their teeth. He sent the goblets to the king, the jewels to the queen, and the brooch to the king's daughter. When Befild takes her king to Velunda for mending, he tricks her into drinking beer, and she passes out. While Befild lies unconscious, Velunda rapes her. As she wakes up, a laughing Velunda flies to Neothad's hall, where he explains how he has murdered the king's sons, fashioned jewellery from their bodies, and fathered a child with Befild. The crying king laments that his archers and horsemen can't reach Velunda. As the smith flies away, never to be seen again, Neothad summons his daughter, asking her if Velunda's story was true. The poem ends with Blethyd stating that she is unable to protect herself from Velunda as he was too strong for her. Now, I just noticed something about that story. Archers. Since when do Vikings use archers? This is a story from Central Asia, a very ancient story. So this is fascinating. He also made a magic sword called Gram. So he's got this relation to Merlin and a magic ring as well. So this is the Lord of the Rings, Velunda. So let's have a look now and do a virtual tour. I've explained all that, and let's explain what the priests would have done. And we can zoom right in, and we can go street view on this, which is so good. So let's just go right up to and let's plonk that man right near the water. So it's the same as Stonehenge. Stonehenge, there's a curved processional which starts near the sacred water, the sacred lake of creation. Okay, so now we are a Druid. So now we are standing here and we are looking out possibly towards a moonrise alignment, and we begin our processional and we start walking. And this is an ancient road. It looks like a modern road, but it's an ancient road. And we're actually going to walk past some Stone Age looking houses, some Stone Age walls. It's just like Ireland up here, this part of UK. It looks the same. You've got the stone walls. And how many other monuments were destroyed? So let's keep going and let's have a look. This is absolutely incredible. And we start to see the first houses, and we see a sign here, Callanish Standing Stone. So if we're a tourist and we have to walk here, you're on the right path. And you look at there's a few houses here, a few stone houses. Let's go towards the standing. And we're now on the North South alignment. So the reason it's North South is this is the Axis Mundi World Tree alignment. So it has to face north and south. in order for the world tree to be aligned, to prove that you're at the center of the center of creation. That's how this religion works. And this religion is pre-2000 BC, and it's worldwide, people. The North-South alignment is like Zoser's pyramid. It's like Chinese pyramids. It's incredible. So here we have a Stone Age house. It's fascinating. You can even look at the doorway. It's amazing. It's like in ancient Ireland. This is like a Dark Age ruin, literally. So there were people living here up to the Dark Age, maybe descendants of the ancient Druids. And it goes on. It's fascinating. Look, there's more stone ruins here. It's a narrow road, so this wasn't even a real road. It's just a processional or pathway. And there's a new house here. So even that grows. These grow here in Melbourne as well. So we're now at this outcrop. What was here? Who knows? It's fenced off. There's something ancient going on here. But let's continue. Guy's parked his car here. It's just this is his car in front of the Google car. Here we have an ancient stone wall. Let's continue, go to the stones. And it's just fascinating, amazing, beautiful sky. These UFO-like clouds. I forget what they're called. And look. So you see this over ancient Ireland as well. Like, this is a house that someone would have lived in. It's got 2 rooms. It's got the living area and it's got a bedroom. Just like Hansel and Gretel, basically. And this is how people lived here. Like, this is literally the middle of nowhere. It's still remote. And here you have a car park. And look, bam, stones. And they're teeth-shaped. They're fan-shaped. And this is a beautiful Callanish alignment. So you notice also it's on a bit of a hill. And notice, look, there's actually stones there for some reason. It's a rectangular type monument. It's going north-south. It's a world tree at the center of creation. This is the world tree. Next to the world water. The water is sort of flowing out of the creation that's being created all the time. It's a home for Loki or Volander, the Lord of the Rings, as we'll see. Let's keep going north. And what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can follow. It looks like we can't follow. Let's see if we can follow that route there. Let's follow that path there. And so we have to go this way. Okay, so let's go this way. So we're looking at the monument. There it is. And they're fangs, they're snake teeth, as pointed out by one archaeologist. This woman's been stretched out funny. There's something funny going on here. And look, so we're on an ancient path, and now we can see it from a side view. Very nice. It's on a hill. It's sloping away, and look, there's a rocky outcrop there, which is kind of like the pyramid or the mountain. So we have this is so old, 2900 BC, that we're looking at the divergence of the mountain from the pyramid religion. And of course, we know the Chinese did both. They did east-west pyramids and north-south pyramids. Their north-south pyramids are more like mounds because they're like a series of mounds in a north-south alignment, whereas their pyramids actually do point east-west because they're all tilted. Instead of having a causeway, they're just tilted, so you just see where the east-west alignment lies. And now we're just leaving the area. But what happens is, as you go up through there, you go to the sacred hill, which is enclosed with a wall. You would worship and preach on the sacred hill, and then you keep going till you get to that rock, which was that sacred rock which we saw on the. If we zoom out, let's zoom out, and let's see what's going on from the sky. So there's the Callanish standing stones right there. And let's just turn that around a bit. There we go. There's the north-south alignment. There's the Callanish stones. And you would keep going past the outcrop to here to say a prayer to Volander. And that's what the Druids would have done, carrying their bag, carrying their sacred staff. And that's just incredible. And that's what's happening at Callanish. Now, let's look at the alignments, shall we? So what I'm going to do, I'll just bring up the helium, and we're going to have a look, and this should be a lot of fun indeed. I'm going to type suncalc into helium, and we're going to bring it to Callanish, and we're going to see what what sunrise they would have been worshipping at Callanish. This is so cool. So I'll just open web URL, suncalc.org. And see, no one knows you can even do this. So I thought like about a year ago, how the hell am I going to find out the sunrise alignments? I need to overlay it. The only way to overlay it is to have a floating window. I need to bring up the floating window on top of what's happening here, and I need to do the overlay. And we close that. And what we're going to do is, all we have to do, this is sunrise and sunset, this is today's date, and we just bring it to where Callanish is, boom, we make it transparent, we go enable that, and then that's it. And now we can move this map around and we can see what the alignments are. So we're looking north-south. Let's see where the stones are. There are the stones. So let's zoom in on that map. Let's get close. Oh, no. Let's zoom in. There we go. We can't zoom in any more than that. So we have this alignment there, this east-west alignment. Let's check it out. So a helium, and we move it over, and we put it there. And let's see what's happening. So there's a sunrise and a sunset, which is interesting. The sunset looks almost linear. Now you can see it looks like it's been converted over time. It's been shifted. It was flat. It's flat according to that. According to that one, it's perfectly straight. But that's our idealistic version. He wants it to be equinoctial, but that's clearly not the case. It's been modified in history, which is interesting. So we see that it's not straight, but it was at one time pointing to the same as that. So let's just look at that and apply it to the sunrise and the sunset. That's all we have to do. So I bring that over, and this is. I tell you what, people, this is not going to be easy. It's and probably why it's never been done before, but we're doing it the first time. So it says Great Britain. So let's move it to a better season. Probably it looks like it's a December sort of season. December. Let's have a look. November, October, November. That's out. that's clearly out. No. Let's look at October. Okay, so we need an alignment like that. So we're getting there. Let's look at September. Oh, it's September. So look, it's hard to see it. I can't zoom in anymore, but no, hang on, I can. Look at that. There we go. So those are the stones there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's just about on. So that's about as accurate as we'll get. So 15 September. So what is around 15 September? If I just Google, I'll just do a quick Google for pagan British holidays, and let's have a look. So we're going to see when they are. So here we go. Let's look at the tree, the star, the wheel of the year. Let's get helium. We don't need helium anymore. We've done that. I'll close helium. 15 September. Oh no, hang on. We'll look at the sunrise as well. So there we go. Mabon. Callanish is for the worship of Mabon. So what the heck is Mabon? Okay, Mabon. Mabon. So it would have been for this Mabon festival, which is about 10 days out from that date. 5 days out from that date. 21 September to 29th September. So it looks like it just starts around Mabon. What does Mabon mean? So Mabon is a harvest festival, the second of 3, that encourages pagans to reap what they sow, both literally and figuratively. It is a time when night and day stand equal in duration. Thus, it is time to express gratitude, complete projects, and honour a moment of balance. Interesting, isn't it? So 6 ways to celebrate the pagan autumnal equinox. Yeah, so it looks like, although it's an equinox, say, maybe down south it's an equinox, but here up north, it's really interesting. Have the dates changed? Because clearly you can see that's not an east-west alignment. It's called the autumnal equinox, but I guess we're starting just before the equinox. So this is a festival just before the equinox, which is starting, so that makes sense. So how do they celebrate this pagan autumnal equinox? I find that interesting. And it'll point to the other equinox as well. So marking the official first date of fall, as well as a pagan holiday, Mabon, in the Northern Hemisphere. Mabon is a harvest festival, second of 3, that encourages pagans to reap what they sow. Now that's interesting, because up north, what would they have been growing? I mean, that's cow country, it's really cold up there. I don't know if they grow anything. Maybe the temperature was different, it was warmer in the past. It's time when night and day are equal in duration. Time to express gratitude, complete projects, honour a moment in balance, celebrate our successes. So it's named after the Welsh god Mabon, son of Earth Mother goddess Modron. So you would have been so you got the world mound there, the female mound. So this is the temple of Mabon and Modron. And you don't see this equinox thing at Stonehenge unless you look at that snake below, south of Stonehenge. This is a temple of Mabon and Modron. Love craft with a K. Is that like German craft work? Offered 6 ways this can be done. Create an altar. Ask for blessings. Have your candle. Oh, my candles. It's still burning. It's still burning. Let's burn it. Oh, I put it out. Oh, no. No, Mabon. No. Look, they've even got these forked things. Like they've channeled these. Oh, that's one ugly looking lady. He looks more female than she does. These forks here. No offense. But I shouldn't say that, should I? So the Mabon is, and this is fascinating because now I just want to show you one more thing before we round it out. So all the Callanishs around here have a northwest causeway. So you have this northwest causeway resulting in standing stones. Here you have another northwest causeway, more houses, and it's resulting in something that's been disappeared. It's not there anymore, but it goes to the cove of a lake. Here you have another north-south causeway, and it leads to the Callanish Stone Circle 2. So that's the Callanish Stone Circle 2 looks like that. It's amazing. It's just amazing. So there's another one. So this, you can see the Druids didn't live in the forest. They lived in this temple city. Another north-south causeway here, and it leads to Callanish 3, another stone circle right there. This goes on and on and on. There's more Callanishes as you go. There's heaps of them. There's more. Look, Callanish 4 actually has an east-west causeway. That's really interesting. Well, this pathway going from the road. But look, maybe in the past it was north-south because you don't see any other east-wests around here. And it's a set of 4 stones, kind of like the station stones of Stonehenge, which point to moon rises. But you can only make them a rectangular pointing to moon rises at Stonehenge's latitude. And look, there's more things. Look, rectangles. Look. Bloody hell! This is a mastaba city. These are mastaba ruins because you look at where they're pointing, they're almost equinoctial. Wow! Guys, there's a lot. If you want to be an archaeologist, this has taken over my life, unfortunately. There's so much to discover. We've established this is a temple to Mabon and Modron. And there's even like a mound. It's like a Chinese pyramid. Chinese pyramids are a set of 4 mounds. You got this mound, and then you got that mound up there. It's like a Central Asian pyramid. These people are from Central Asia. Wow. Guys, hope you've had the patience to watch it right through because you've seen a lot. I'm doing this for you guys. I could be making billions of dollars. Come on. Yeah!